I have some exciting news! I'm getting married! And guess what? Do you want to know who it is? Should I tell you? Oh, wow, that's great. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations on your engagement. Thanks. So my fiancé is actually the son of a company president. Can you believe it? It feels like my life is going perfectly. Honestly, just being born with a decent face already makes me a winner, don't you think? I graduated from university with my sister and got a good job. And now I am marrying a rich and successful guy. Yeah, that sounds really nice. I'm glad to hear that everything's going well for you. Right? My life is seriously on a roll. I just recently quit my job in anticipation of my marriage. When I showed everyone pictures of my fiancé, the president's son, they were all super jealous. It's hilarious, really. Some of my friends from my 30s were so envious. It was funny. I mean, obviously, our backgrounds are just so different. You are really putting yourself out there, aren't you? It's one thing to say this to me, but maybe you should tone it down a bit when you're outside. What? Of course not. You think I'm going to pretend to be humble? I'm actually quite good at navigating life, you know. I can see that, but just be careful. If you keep making enemies, it could come back to haunt you later. Oh, please. It's not like you, who seems to struggle in life. I'm leading a life that's completely opposite of yours, where you had a child young and ended up alone. I haven't had to deal with any hardships at all. Well, that kind of life doesn't necessarily last forever. Especially now that you're getting married, your actions will impact your partner too. It's important to be responsible for what you say and do. Coming from someone who divorced a loser, that doesn't have much weight, does it? I mean, the way people get divorced so easily these days is ridiculous. You should think about the kids. That's something I've always thought about. And honestly, the kid that you had seems a bit slow. Plus, the kid's not exactly a looker either, so it's kind of sad. Gabby, that is way too much. You can say whatever you want about me, but leave my child out of it. Oh, look who's acting all high and mighty now. But seriously, don't you feel sorry for that kid? Having a single mother who dropped out of school, that is something to be ashamed of forever. I would definitely feel inferior about that. You can think however you want, but don't present your values as if they're universal truths or the only right way to live. Everyone carries their own burdens as they navigate life. Your reckless words will eventually come back to bite you. You should really stop acting like a child, spouting whatever comes to mind without thinking. That's hilarious! A single mother without a diploma is preaching to me now? I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for a child to have a mother like that. I'm going to make sure I never turn out like you. Do whatever you want. Oh, by the way, I'm bringing my fiancé over to meet my family soon. He wants to greet our parents, so it's happening. You and your kid better be there too, just to show face. We're technically family now, right? But once I get married, I'll probably cut ties anyway. Wow, do you really have to say all that? Well, that's just how it is. Just promise me you won't show up looking like a mess, okay? Yeah. Are you still not here? I'm already here, you know. Can you hurry up? Yeah, sorry, I'm on my way, so please wait a bit. There was a train delay because of an accident. Huh? Are you kidding me? That's such a pathetic excuse. You should have anticipated that and left earlier. I did leave early, but this happened. I'll figure out a way to get there, so please wait. Oh, this is the worst. As if it's not bad enough that I have to introduce my low-spec sister. Now you're going to be late, too? You're really failing as a person, you know. I said I'm sorry. Whatever, I already told my fiancé that you're just my servant. Huh? What do you mean by that? Do you think I'd hang around with someone like you otherwise? You're a single mom who dropped out of high school. You're just a disgrace to the family. I told my fiancé he could treat you however he wants, like a servant. Wow. If someone introduced me like that, I'd be completely disgusted by them. But whatever, I just got a taxi, so I'll be there soon. I've arrived, but where are you? What are you doing, leaving your fiancé behind? Oh, you got there? Well, that was faster than I expected. I just had some free time, so I went to the convenience store. By the way, did you meet my fiancé? Yeah, I met him. Is he treating you like a servant? You know, introducing yourself as a high school dropout and a clueless single mom.
You better kneel and apologize to her right now.
Huh? What do you mean by her? And honestly, I can't even keep up with how nonsensical this conversation is. Your logic is a bit lacking, you know, huh?
Gabby, what are you talking about? Miley, your sister, is our company's advisor and a super high-ranking executive. She's an impressive person.
Wait, are you talking about Bradley? Why is he contacting me through Miley's phone?
You introduced me as a servant, and I've been looking down on you, so I asked him what was up, and he showed me this message. I'm just devastated to learn your true nature.
Wait a minute, I'm completely lost here. You and Miley know each other?
Know each other? It's more than that. She's someone who's really helped me. I never expected to run into her like this. She's not someone you can look down on just because she's a high school dropout and a single mom. She's worked hard and achieved a lot.
Oh, is that so? I didn't know she was actually doing well in her job. And please stop treating me like the villain here. It's a fact that I became a single mother and dropped out of school.
You don't understand at all the challenges of making a living as a single mother, which is why you can say such things. Anyway, apologize to Miley. We'll talk about everything else afterward.
No way! Why should I apologize? Being a high school dropout and a single mom is entirely my responsibility and my own fault. It's her fault for choosing a life that makes you look down on yourself.
Well, now I understand. Gabby, I've lost respect for you. The engagement is off.
What? That's a bit over the top, don't you think? Wait, why? I didn't think you could be this cruel and mean. You're really a piece of work. Oh, and it's Miley, by the way. I got my phone back. He says he's leaving now. Wait, don't just take the conversation into your own hands. Are you kidding me? Don't let him go. Well, it's not happening. He seems utterly defeated now and has realized that you are someone he cannot communicate with. I don't think he has any intention of trying again. When your values are this different on something so significant, it's impossible to talk about marriage, right? Why? I haven't said anything wrong. How did we end up like this? The fact that you think you haven't said anything wrong is where it ends. Your values and his are too different. You probably tried hard to keep his facade up until now, but after exposing your true self to this extent, there's just no way. This is your fault! If you hadn't meddled, he wouldn't be angry! I get it that you don't want me to be happy in my perfect life, but please don't ruin my life! What are you talking about? If anyone is interrupting your life, it's definitely you. I'm not hindering your life at all. You forgot that you were the one who interrupted mine? I'm not to blame. You're talking about your ex-husband, aren't you? I told you before, it's his fault. He wanted to have a relationship with me because I'm prettier than you. Can you not blame everything on me? You're the one who chose him. Well, I think that myself. That's why I haven't blamed you too much until now. I just can't comprehend how someone would even think about going after their sister's fiancé. It became clear that you lack common sense, and it's pointless to keep talking about things that are in the past. I can't accept that you're doing this to me. You need to fix Bradley's misunderstanding. Take responsibility. Misunderstanding? What do you mean? You're definitely making it seem like it's all my fault. I'm not that bad of a person. I've been trying my best to live my life. No, you come off as pretty terrible to me, and I'm sure Bradley sees you the same way. You seem like someone who's always relied on your privileged background and who's lived without any knowledge of real hardship. It's painfully obvious. What did you just say? Didn't you hear? I told you that being a single mother and making a living is hard work. I don't understand how you can't grasp that, especially since you're her sister and yet he can. Well, it makes sense because his father runs a business that provides services for single mothers. Now that you mention it, I think I remember hearing something about that. See? That's why I warned you that your recklessness would eventually lead to your downfall. Look where we are now. It's turned out just as I predicted. That's why I told you to be careful. This is ridiculous. I'm already engaged and set to leave my job. I can't believe he's calling off the engagement. Well, that's between the two of you. I won't get involved, but honestly, he's too good for you. You two are just not a good match. Shut up! I am getting married! If you're not going to help, then stay out of my life! I mean it. I'm cutting ties with you for good. All right, fine. To be honest, that works better for me too. Let's do that.
Miley, I'm truly sorry for showing you such an unpleasant side. No, I mean, I'm really sorry for dragging you into our issues. I never imagined it would turn out this way. I apologize for the trouble.
No, I should be the one apologizing. My sister was the one causing you trouble. You must have been so shocked.
Yes. Honestly, I was so shocked I could hardly believe it. But after Miley showed me the messages, I had no choice but to believe it. I'm really grateful that I learned the truth about her before we got married.
I agree. I was also relieved that I happened to meet you at the time when Gabby wasn't around. If she'd been here, you probably would have witnessed an ugly argument between sisters, which would have been unpleasant for everyone involved. And it's just a shame that you came all this way to formally meet with the family to announce the engagement.
Oh, no, not at all. Honestly, if I had seen any kind of argument between you two, I probably would have been even more certain about my decision to end things with her. I'm grateful I could talk to you like this without her around.
I'm glad to hear you say that. But I can't help feeling somewhat responsible for getting in the way of your engagement like this. It's just a little hard to ignore that the two of you were so close to getting married, and I feel somewhat responsible for ruining that.
No, really, you don't have to feel that way. Actually, truth be told, I already had some doubts about marrying her. It's a bit of a separate issue, but now that I've seen her true nature, I realize it's better that I learned this now than later.
Oh, wait a moment. You were feeling betrayed?
Yeah. When I found out what she really thought about people around her, including her own sister, I started piecing things together. The way she talked about her own family, her own sibling with such disrespect. It made me question if that's how she would one day talk about me, too. She seemed to have no empathy or care, and her attitude was just so cold-hearted. I've been in relationships before, but I've never experienced this kind of malice, I guess.
I understand. Gabby's always had her strong opinions, but it's shocking to hear how far she's gone. You're absolutely right to take it seriously. No one should have to put up with such behavior, and I'm sorry you even had to experience it in the first place.
Hearing you say that makes me feel reassured. I feel like I've made the right choice. Your support means a lot. I feel like I'm finally seeing things clearly.
You're very kind. I'm sorry things turned out this way, but sometimes these challenges can be blessings in disguise. It takes strength to see what's real and make the right choices. If I can help in any way, don't hesitate to reach out.
I really appreciate it, Miley. Knowing someone like you was part of her family was what kept me hopeful for so long. I'm sorry things turned out this way, but honestly, I feel a lot lighter. Thank you for being so understanding.
You're welcome. I hope everything works out for the best for you, Bradley. Why am I being thrown out of the house? I just came home to find my stuff tossed out, and then I was told to get out. And apparently they even got your approval for this? What the hell does that mean? It's exactly what it sounds like. They have my full agreement because, well, this house, the one you're staying in, it's actually under my name. What? Are you serious? I thought Mom and Dad bought it with their pension money. Nope, they didn't. I bought this house back when my child was still little, and they were there to help me get through a lot. So I decided to return the favor by buying the place. You were the one who just decided to make it your home. So that's why they're kicking me out? But why now? You know, I'm already dealing with the heartbreak of my engagement falling apart. Couldn't you cut me some slack? Oh, I know about the engagement. I told them everything, actually. I explained how you've been spoiled and coddled far too much, and that it's become an issue that just keeps repeating itself. What do you mean by repeating itself? What are you talking about? Oh, you know very well what I mean. You were engaged to Bradley, yet here you are, sneaking around with another guy. You think no one noticed? Wait, what are you talking about? What proof do you even have? Don't try to play dumb. I saw all the evidence. Bradley showed me himself. I feel so sorry for him, Gabby. Here he was, thinking he had a future with you. You couldn't have been more careless. Why? Why would Bradley even know about any of this? Honestly, you can't fool someone with a sharp mind. There are people who can see through this kind of thing. And I'd say after dealing with your behavior over the years, my instincts have become pretty sharp too. So tell me, on the day you went to the convenience store, weren't you just trying to sneak in some time to chat with that other guy? Well, but so what? That's none of your business, Miley. Whatever's going on with Bradley and me doesn't concern you. Oh, trust me, I know it doesn't directly concern me. Then why bring it up? Because I'm done with this nonsense. I've explained everything to Mom and Dad so they'd understand why it's time to take back control of my house. No more freeloaders here. You can't be serious. You went and told them all of this? Of course I did. See, you may not care since you're the one doing the damage, but the people on the other end of your recklessness, the ones who get hurt, we have every right to speak up. I know that because of you. I ended up divorcing my own husband. And then, even after that, you go and pull the same thing with another guy, causing more hurt. So, yes, I had no choice but to set things straight with our parents. Are you kidding me? I told you this has nothing to do with you. Why would you meddle like that? Do you have any idea how hard things are for me right now? I'm still trying to find a job. Oh, aren't you supposed to be this elite who graduated college? Finding work should not be an issue for you, right? Isn't that what you always claim? Sure, I might find something eventually, but honestly, I doubt you will. With that inflated sense of worth, you're bound to be picky about jobs. But here's the catch. You've quit every job you've had almost as soon as you've started. So how are you supposed to convince anyone to take you on? Employers aren't lining up to hire people like that. Stop it! I don't need you to rub it in. I already know that much. Well, get ready because Bradley told me he's planning to sue for damages. So I hope you're prepared to face the consequences of your own choices. What? Sue me? For what? You two were engaged, right? He has every right to seek damages. This is your reality now, so buckle up. No, wait, no way! I don't have that kind of money! I don't even have a place to live now! Miley, come on, please say something to him! I'll apologize for everything, just let me come back home! No, you think I'm your servant? Helping you out after everything you've done would make me nothing more than your personal doormat. I gave you plenty of chances to get your act together, Gabby. But it's clear that none of it ever meant anything to you. Please, Miley, I'm begging you, help me out here. Oh, wasn't it you who once told me we live opposite lives, that you were the successful one? Looks like it's true in a way. Now you're getting a real taste of rock bottom. Enjoy! Gabby's constant messages had become quite overwhelming, to the point where I decided to simply block her number. It wasn't an easy choice, but it felt necessary for my peace of mind. I needed some space from the incessant notifications that disrupted my day-to-day life. Gabby became the type of person who often couldn't take a hint, had a knack for overwhelming anyone with her communication, especially when things didn't go her way. The relentless barrage of texts, calls, and messages had finally pushed me over the edge. In her attempt to reach out, I learned that she had been trying to get in touch with Bradley, my friend, with the hope of apologizing to him for her behavior. It's not unusual for someone like Gabby to seek out others to mediate her conflicts, thinking that if she can just get the right person to understand her side, everything would miraculously resolve itself. However, this time, things had escalated beyond mere apologies and conversations. Bradley's known for being a kind-hearted individual, always willing to lend an ear or offer support when needed. His warm demeanor makes him approachable, and many people, including Gabby, often feel comfortable confiding in him. Despite his gentle nature, there exists a more pragmatic and cold side to him when it comes to serious issues. And this situation with Gabby was no exception. After enduring her disruptive behavior for far too long, he had reached his breaking point too. I found out that he had made the difficult decision to consider taking legal action against Gabby. This was significant because Bradley typically avoided confrontation and rarely resorted to such extreme measures. The fact that he felt pushed to this extent showed how serious the situation had become. I knew that he had always been patient with Gabby, having tried numerous times to advise her on her behavior and how it impacted those around her. But it seems that despite his best efforts, Gabby was incapable of understanding the consequences of her actions. In the past, he had spoken to her, expressing his concerns and encouraging her to change her ways, but it felt like talking to a brick wall. Each conversation would end with promises from Gabby that she would do better, that she would make changes, but ultimately, those were just empty words. Time and again, he tried to guide her, offering constructive feedback, but Gabby would often brush it off or become defensive, insisting that she was fine just the way she was. As I reflected on the situation, it struck me that with people like Gabby, sometimes they need to hit rock bottom before they can truly comprehend the impact of their behavior. I thought about how difficult it must be for someone who has been coddled or shielded from the harsh realities of life to understand what it means to face consequences. Gabby, in her own little world, often seemed detached from the struggles and emotions of those around her. This lack of awareness isn't unique to her. It's something I've noticed in people who have never had to deal with the repercussions of their actions. They often live in a bubble, believing that they can act however they wish without facing the fallout. This is especially true for Gabby, who has often been treated with kid gloves by those around her, including her family and friends. The constant support and validation she received allowed her to continue her behavior without realizing how it affected others. Bradley's been a voice of reason for her, but now it seemed like even he had reached his limits. The kind-heartedness he usually exhibited had turned into a steely resolve. His decisions to consider legal action was not taken lightly. It was a last resort, an indication that he could no longer tolerate the chaos she brought into his life. I wondered what it would take for Gabby to finally understand the seriousness of her actions and the pain they caused others. It was painful to watch, knowing that despite Bradley's best intentions, Gabby might not learn her lessons until it was too late. I felt a mix of sympathy for both of them. For Bradley, I understood the frustration of trying to help someone who doesn't see the need for help. For Gabby, I felt pity because she was on a path that could lead to significant isolation if she didn't change her ways. I knew deep down that if she continued down this road, she would find herself alone, without the support of those who once cared for her. As I pondered the situation further, I considered the dynamics of their relationship. It was complex, to say the least. Bradley had always been the patient one, willing to listen to Gabby's woes and provide comfort when she was upset. However, Gabby had become increasingly demanding over time, relying on him as her emotional crutch, without reciprocating the same level of care. It's a dynamic that often occurs in relationships where one party feels entitled to the support of another without realizing the toll it takes. In my conversations with Bradley, he had expressed his exasperation with Gabby's inability to appreciate his kindness. He felt like he was giving and giving, but in return he received nothing but more demands for attention and understanding. I could see how this had begun to wear him down, leading to his decision to take a stand against her. Even as I contemplated all of this, I couldn't help but think about the moments that defined their interactions. There had been times when Gabby was genuinely sweet and caring, but those instances seemed few and far between compared to her more demanding and inconsiderate behavior. I wondered if she was capable of change or if she would continue to spiral further into her self-centered ways. Bradley had tried to remain hopeful throughout their friendship, believing that there was a part of Gabby that could recognize her shortcomings and make an effort to improve. He would often recount moments where she showed potential for growth, moments where she demonstrated empathy or kindness to others. But those instances were always overshadowed by her more manipulative and attention-seeking tendencies. It was as if every step forward was followed by 2 steps back, and it left Bradley feeling exhausted and defeated. Ultimately, it was a difficult lesson for both Bradley and Gabby. For Bradley, the lesson was about setting boundaries and knowing when to say enough is enough. For Gabby, it was a harsh awakening that her actions had consequences and that she couldn't always rely on others to pick up the pieces for her. The road ahead would be challenging, and it would require both of them to confront the truth about their relationship and their respective roles within it. As I continued to reflect on their dynamic, I couldn't shake the feeling of sadness for what might be lost. There was a time when Bradley and Gabby shared a bond that was genuine, filled with laughter and support. But now that bond was strained to the breaking point, and I feared that the damage done could be irreparable. It was painful to see two people who once cared for each other reaching the point of no return. In the days that followed, I kept in touch with Bradley, hoping to provide him with the support he needed during this tumultuous time. I could sense the weight of the decision he faced pressing down on him. He was caught between his natural inclination to help others with the realization that he had prioritized his own well-being. It's a conflict many people experience when they care deeply for someone who continuously drains their emotional resources. Bradley began to open up more about his feelings, and I listened carefully as he navigated the complexities of the situation. He expressed his disappointment not only in Gabby, but also in himself for allowing things to get this far. He wondered how he had managed to get to a point where he felt he had no other option but to consider legal action. The guilt weighed heavily on him, even though I assured him that he had done everything he could to help her. I encouraged him to reflect on his own needs and to recognize that it was okay to prioritize his mental health. After all, he couldn't pour from an empty cup. I reminded him that his feelings were valid and he had every right to protect himself from emotional turmoil. It was a long and difficult conversation, but I hoped it would provide him with some clarity as he continued to grapple with his decision. Meanwhile, I also thought about Gabby and the path she was on. I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding for her future. She was caught in a cycle of behavior that seemed to lead only to isolation and regret. I wondered if there would ever come a time that she would reflect on her actions and see the damage she had done to her relationships. It was troubling to think that she might continue to live her life oblivious to the chaos she caused. There was a part of me that hoped she would eventually reach out for help, that she would realize the importance of self-awareness and change. Perhaps hitting rock bottom could serve as the catalyst for her transformation. But I also knew that change had to come from within, so no amount of external pressure could force someone to grow if they weren't ready to do so. As I considered the broader implications of this situation, I reflected on how often we encounter people like Gabby in our lives. Individuals who struggle to take responsibility for their actions, who navigate life without considering the impact they have on those around them. It's a harsh reality that many of us must face, and it can be incredibly disheartening to watch someone spiral downward, seemingly oblivious to the consequences of their behavior. The situation with Gabby and Bradley served as a reminder of the importance of boundaries in relationships. It highlighted the necessity of recognizing when someone's behavior becomes detrimental and knowing when to take a step back for the sake of one's own well-being. Sometimes love and friendship aren't enough to sustain a relationship. Sometimes tough love is required to bring about change. As I continued to support Bradley, I hoped he would find the strength to follow through with his decision, whatever that might be. Whether he ultimately chose to pursue legal action or find another way to address the situation, I wanted him to feel empowered in his choice. It was important for him to understand that he had agency over his own life, that he didn't have to tolerate behavior that was harmful to him. In the end, I hoped that both Bradley and Gabby would learn valuable lessons from this experience. Whether they realized it or not, for Bradley it was an opportunity to assert himself and prioritize his needs. For Gabby, it could be a wake-up call, a chance to reflect on her behavior and consider the changes necessary for her to build healthier relationships moving forward. Life often presents us with challenges that test our resilience and force us to confront uncomfortable truths. The situation was no different. I knew that whatever the outcome, both of them would be forever changed by the experience. It was a bittersweet realization, but it also gave me hope. Because sometimes, through the struggles and heartaches, we find the strength to grow, to evolve, and to become better versions of ourselves.